Good evening, I'm Kashechewan. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. As U.S. President Donald Trump insists on annexing Greenland, nothing appears to be working in dissuading his decision, including a recent American poll that opposes that idea. A press conference was held today where the Greenlandic government is telling its people to now prepare. Our APTN video journalist Angel Moore is in Nuuk, the capital of Greenland, and brings us the latest.
I'm here in downtown Nuuk, Greenland. Earlier today at a press conference, two ministers from Greenland's government, Peter Borg and Iqaluit, said Greenland is in a tough situation and preparedness is not about fear but about safety. They said people should be prepared to be able to stay home for 5 days, have first aid, and prepare for power outages. However, the ministers did not say if this is a result of any new information. Greenlanders themselves are tired of speaking to media. The capital has been swarmed with international journalists for weeks. I'm here all week with more stories to come. Angel Moore, APTN National News, Nuuk, Greenland.
The city of Yellowknife is hosting an international seminar on Arctic resilience this week, bringing together Nordic ambassadors, Indigenous leaders, and political officials to examine economic sustainability, whole-of-society preparedness, and growing security challenges in the North. Representation from Denmark, Iceland, Sweden, Finland, and Norway, and the city of Yellowknife agree that they are carved from the same block of ice, and conversations around their shared challenges will create lasting partnerships. The participants say their challenges go beyond melting ice. There's increased geopolitical competition leading to more cooperation between the European Nordic countries and Canada on military coordination, Coast Guard operations, and political dialogue. Denmark Ambassador Nikolai Harris says there needs to be a whole-of-society approach to emergency preparedness, and it must include input from civilians and businesses.
In order to have this whole-of-society approach, you also need the individuals, so the inhabitants of the Kingdom of Denmark, and therefore we are also communicating with them, coming up with advice on how to be prepared. Water, electricity, medicine, and so on and so forth. And what we see actually now is that the population in the Kingdom of Denmark are responding quite positively to our advice.
Ambassador Harris also welcomed the solidarity from around the world amid the threats facing Iqaluit, also known as Greenland. Earlier this week, we reported that the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, are detaining Native Americans while searching for undocumented immigrants. Amid fears of racial profiling, Grand Council Treaty 3 in Ontario is warning its citizens to be cautious when crossing the Canadian border into the U.S. In a statement posted on Wednesday, Grand Council Treaty Number 3 advised members who live in, travel to, or transit through the United States to take added precautions while crossing and remaining within U.S. borders. The Anishinaabe government believes First Nation citizens crossing the U.S. border are experiencing, quote, increased scrutiny, questioning, or enforcement actions by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They're encouraging band members to make sure their passports and status cards are up to date to reduce any risk of detention. The Grand Council says ICE must respect treaty-protected rights regarding border crossings. We are learning more about the man from Sebenegati First Nation who was shot and killed by Nova Scotia RCMP last week. Here's an update. According to a public obituary posted by the family earlier this week, the man has been identified as 37-year-old Daryl Leo Thomas Augustine from Indian Brook, Nova Scotia. He is being remembered as a loving father of 3 children, a seasonal fisherman, and enjoyed eeling with his partner and exercising his inherent treaty rights. A traditional ceremony is being held at the Indian Brook Community Center today, and he will be buried at the St. Catharines Community Cemetery in Indian Brook. According to the Serious Incident Response Team, or CERT, On Tuesday, January 13th, Sebenegati RCMP received a call about a disturbance at a home in Sebenegati. An adult male was reported to have a firearm and threatened others before leaving in a car. RCMP later located the man where they popped his tires with a spike belt. Then the vehicle left the road near an intersection with Highway 202. CERT says non-lethal options were used, however multiple shots were fired by the RCMP. Life-saving measures was used on the man, however he was pronounced deceased at the scene. The family of Daryl Augustine is now calling for full transparency in CERT's investigation. They want Indigenous involvement within CERT, and they want an end to the normalization of lethal force used against Indigenous people. They say the RCMP showed a profound lack of dignity and disrespect towards Augustine's remains. CERT continues its investigation this week. A non-profit organization in Whitehorse aimed at helping vulnerable women says it's on the brink of financial collapse. According to a recent court filing, the organization is suing a former acting executive director and her consulting firm, alleging financial mismanagement. APTN's Sarah Connors has more.
Nonprofit organization the Yukon Aboriginal Women's Council is suing a BC-based consulting firm, accusing it of negligence and breach of contract, allegations it says have left it facing insolvency. The Whitehorse-based organization provides supports to vulnerable Indigenous women, girls, and gender-diverse people. According to a statement of claim filed in the Supreme Court of Yukon last month, the consulting firm Strategies North worked for the organization between 2020 and 2025. The claim makes several allegations against the firm and its CEO, Anna Barley, who also served as acting executive director between late 2022 and early 2025. Among the allegations is that Barley did not disclose serious accounting records deficiencies and failed to return corporate records. The organization says these alleged actions caused it to temporarily fall out of good standing with the Yukon Corporate Registry and prevented it from holding required annual meetings. The claim says the organization is now facing a $2.5 million deficit. It also alleges damaged relationships with key funders and members and says it's been forced to cut back programming and lay off most of its staff. The lawsuit asks for general and special damages, but doesn't specify a dollar amount. Barley has not yet filed a statement of defense, and the allegations against her and her firm have not been tested in court. Barley said in an email to APTN News she denies the allegations against her firm, but couldn't comment further as the matter is before the courts. Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Whitehorse.
First Nations leadership in BC is warning the federal and provincial governments to step in before another massive landslide devastates the animals and people there. That story after the break, but first, a look at what our Vancouver reporter Tina House is working on.
The opioid epidemic has taken countless lives across the country, but here in BC, 16,000 people have lost their lives to toxic drug crisis. We take a closer look on APTN National News tomorrow to see what the BC government is doing to save lives.
Welcome back. The Chilcotin National Government, or TNG, is located in British Columbia's central interior. It is warning the federal and provincial governments that there is an imminent risk of a devastating landslide in the Chilcotin River, and it will impact the salmon migration if governments do not step in now and prevent it from happening. In a recent statement, TNG says a geotechnical report commissioned by the province of BC indicates an imminent risk of a rockfall at this stretch of water of the Chilcotin River. TNG says there are tension cracks in the steep slope that could give way and impact the salmon run. TNG was part of an emergency task force in the summer of 2024 when a massive rockslide blocked the waterway for several days. During that time, it developed a stabilization plan with the province. However, TNG says it is alarmed that the province and feds would not provide funding for that plan before this year's salmon migration. In response, the nation says it will pay for the work itself at an estimated cost of up to $3 million. In a statement, Tribal Chief Otis Gouchon Sr. added, "Salmon are the heart of our culture and who we are as Chilcotin people of the river. Our way of life is at stake, not just our way of life. These salmon feed Indigenous communities all along the Fraser River. It is unthinkable to us that Canada and BC would have full knowledge of this risk to salmon, have a mitigation plan that was developed together and ready to go, and still not take the steps needed to prevent this catastrophe." The BC government says it will continue to work closely with all of its partners to keep the public safe. Members of the remote Northern Ontario community of Kashechewan First Nation continue to be evacuated due to unsafe drinking water there. The water treatment system broke down during the first week of January due to defective water pumps. And although it's been fixed, the water is still not safe to drink. Kashechewan declared a local state of emergency and called for a general evacuation for all of its 2,300 residents. Officials say the government response was very slow at first, and the many years of calls to be relocated have only compounded at this point. Executive Director Tyson Wesley recently spoke to us from Kashechewan. Here's that interview. Tyson Wesley, thank you so much for speaking with us. Can you bring us up to speed on the current status of the evacuations? When and how many have been evacuated, and where are they being sent to?
Yeah, we have over 1,450 people that have been evacuated to Kingston, Niagara Falls, Timmins, and also Kapuskasing, and we're going to be sending people out to Cochrane soon.
Thankfully, the water plant has been fixed now. Can you explain how long before the boil water advisory could be lifted? And I understand a number of community members are also sick with cryptosporidium.
Yeah, we have 26 cases confirmed so far. There's still tests, stool samples, and all that coming in, but we have a high number of people getting sick right now. We have a special team that's going to be coming in on the 25th, 26th to take samples in the community and send back for testing. So we won't know until the 30th where the cryptosporidium is coming from, but our first point of investigation is in the water.
Wastewater also backed up into the nursing station. What is the situation there with the nursing station now?
Yeah, we have a team that's come in a few days ago, and I think they're doing their first air quality test, but they've ripped out all the drywall out of the nursing station. So I think it will be probably a week before repairs are done.
Is your backup nursing station there and ready to go right now?
Yeah, it's been activated for over a week now, and it's our elementary school has been used as an emergency backup for now.
Tyson, can you also explain how hard this whole ordeal has been on all of the evacuees that were waiting to be evacuated and the ones that are sick right now?
I think there's a sense of relief for the people that got evacuated. They're in southern host communities right now, and they have access to clean drinking water from the tap. They can bathe, they can do everything what normal Canadians do all the time, but now they don't have to worry about the water. So I think But at the same time, it is frustrating. It is really tiring to be out of your community for an unknown period of time, because we don't know what the next steps will be when the tests come back, and if there is cryptosporidium in the water.
Tyson, spring is just around the corner with so many infrastructure fixes needed right now. Can you explain what more is needed to ensure members can return safely before the spring thaw?
I think the repairs are going on as repairs are happening right now, but if the cryptosporidium is found in the water, I think a lot of engineering, a lot of work has to be done to ensure that we can kill the parasite in our water treatment process. So I think that's going to take some time. I don't know what the timeline is, but if it is found, I think it might be extended for quite a while, an unknown time frame right now.
I also wanted to get your thoughts on the federal government's response with all of this. Where are you at right now in terms of government help and assisting with this issue?
I think the federal response at the initial start of this evacuations were kind of disheartening, to kind of take their time on getting people out, and that's why we called for military aid at the beginning, just to get more people out as fast as we could, because they weren't able to secure commercial flights as we needed. But now it's kind of we have more people out. There's only about 400 people left, but their response has been a lot better, and they're aiding us in what's been happening here and there in the community. So right now I think we're at a good place with them. There's great rapport, but as I said initially, I think they can do better and should do better.
We have less than a minute. Finally, Tyson, in 2019, Kashechewan signed a framework agreement with the federal government with a commitment to relocate the community. According to Indigenous Services Canada in December, more funds were allocated for further studies and community engagement. As part of leadership, I would assume you're very tired of all of these ongoing delays. Do you know how long before there are concrete plans to relocate?
It's really unclear. We've been promised relocation for over a decade, and I don't think we've gone far enough in our attempts to kind of relocate the community. I think if the government can expedite mineral development in the Ring of Fire or anywhere else, I think it can expedite these processes for relocation for the safety of our community. So I think they can, as I said, they can do better, and they should do better for our safety. So.
Tyson Wesley is an executive director with the Kashechewan First Nation. Tyson, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
North of North has been given the green light for season 2. That story after the break. Thanks for staying with us. Time now to see what photo we received today. Denise Linklater from Ross River, Yukon shared this stunning display of the Northern Lights. Thanks for thinking of us, Denise, and make sure you don't whistle at them. Ole. If you have a photo you would like to share with all of our viewers, you can send us those pictures to share at aptn.ca. Time now for tomorrow's weather forecast. On the East Coast, St. John's -2, Charlottetown 3. Maine -24, Happy Valley Goose Bay -19. -1 in Quebec City, Montreal +2. Ottawa -1 and partly cloudy, Peterborough -2. Sudbury -8, Timmins -10. -27 in God's Lake, Churchill -21. Clear skies in Winnipeg at -27, Dauphin -26. North Battleford -26, Estevan -22. La Ronge -27, Uranium City -29. -25 in Fort McMurray, Peace River -18. Sunny in Lethbridge at -12, Red Deer -17. Partly cloudy in Vancouver at +5, Penticton cloudy at -4. Fort Nelson -14, Smithers -4. -16 in Watson Lake Mayo -21. -30 in Wati, Yellowknife -28. -17 in Polituck, Colville Lake -20. RV at -28, Baker Lake -30. And Arctic Bay -32, Iqaluit -28 and sun's out. The hit TV show North of North first premiered in Canada on APTN and CBC in January of 2025. It later streamed on Netflix in April with more huge success. The hit show also received a rare 100% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, production has been busy to produce a second season. The series is currently filming in Iqaluit, Nunavut, and Toronto until this April. North of North is produced by Red Marrow Media and Northwood Entertainment. The show has taken home 5 awards from the 2025 Directors Guild of Canada Awards, and it continues to be nominated for other awards such as the 41st Film Independent Spirit Awards and the Writers Guild of Canada Screenwriting Awards. On APTN, North of North was a top-performing new scripted show in our winter 2025 season, and it was top new program on APTN+. The series has also been viewed up to 9 million times on Netflix between April and June of last year. Make sure to catch North of North's all-new second season later this year on APTN. Shoppers in Iqaluit are seeing more options on the shelves as Northmart opens its newly renovated fresh food section. Northmart, owned by the Northwest Company, is one of the largest retailers in Nunavut. This new space at its Iqaluit location is aimed at putting more focus on fresh produce and adding more space for frozen food. The space also includes a larger bakery and deli, along with more options for hot and ready-to-eat meals. Company representatives say the expanded area gives them more room to try out new ideas, including food options that customers in the community may not be used to seeing on store shelves. They say the goal is to see what works best and how shoppers respond to the changes. Jim Caldwell is the president of the Canadian Retail for the Northwest Company. He says the changes aren't permanent yet, and the project is expected to move into its next phase soon, which will see the other side of the store closed as construction continues.
We've probably renovated a little over a third of the store. There's still quite a project going on that will finish sometime this very early fall, where there's still a lot of the general merchandise side of the store, where we'll be putting in a new expanded apparel area with Joe Fresh products, actually, and a much larger furniture display area, so people can actually come in and it'll be a furniture display selling area, much more comfortable for the customer. So that's still underway.
The Winnipeg Jets are holding their 8th annual Winnipeg Aboriginal Sport Achievement Centre Night at the Canada Life Centre this Saturday evening. The event celebrates Indigenous communities and culture. Youth from Powangasi, Lac Brochet, Oxford House, Pine Creek, and Shamattawa First Nations and the Métis community of Duck Bay are going to be busy at the event. There's skating with NHL alumnus Ray Neufeld and Trevor Kidd. Then there's the nutrition class at the Feast Bistro and a mental wellness workshop with True North Youth Foundation. But hockey is, of course, the highlight. The youth will be at the NHL game Saturday night between the Winnipeg Jets and Detroit Red Wings. The Winnipeg High School band, Coco Stevenson and Rhonda James, are part of the entertainment. Bannock dogs and bison tacos are on the menu at the concessions. And the weekend wraps up on Sunday with the AHL game between the Manitoba Moose and Grand Rapids Griffins. You had me at Bannock Dogs. Definitely go check that event out if you're in Winnipeg this weekend. And that's your evening newscast for this Wednesday. APTN National News Daytime is back again tomorrow midday. Please join us then. Thanks for watching and have a safe evening. Ekse.